Hi guys, this is Juno and welcome back to another account review in Summoner's War. Today we are in Chakoi's account. This is a returning player. He wants to catch up in the game, and I already checked out his runes, his unit box. There isn't much to say about his unit box, but he is lacking in runes, a lot of it. And when he requested this account review, he wanted my opinion on what he needs to focus on next. So I was going to be lenient as possible, trying to be nice to this account because I knew that he took a long break and he told me that he was in the process of getting back. However, I do have to say that he made an extremely bad choice with his event runes. It actually made it hard for me to see. Hey guys, before we start the video, if you guys are interested in getting advice and help from me and other Summoners War players, feel free to join my Discord, where the link is in the descriptions below. Also, if you enjoy my content and want to support me, become a Patreon, where the link for it is also in the descriptions. I want to say I appreciate all the support, and believe me, I really do. Anyways, that was it. Let's get back to the video. This account, although it is not that important to see how long this account has been active, it's been created for 2,796 days, so it's a very old account. I don't know when this account owner came back into the game. I just know that he hasn't been playing for a very long time and he just came back, and he wants to, well, at least from his words, he wants to focus in the game. So I'm gonna give you a wake-up call with this review. I am going to tell you what you need to do to actually get better in the game. I hope you take it into heart. I hope you don't take my criticism lightly, because if you want to improve, you shouldn't be doing certain things or picking out certain things when Comtuos is giving you an awesome opportunity to get a rune that is probably going to be one of your best runes, or that has a very high possibility of being one of your best runes in the game. But the deed is done for this event already. I'm going to show you guys his rune quality because it's really low, and then we're going to check out his event runes and what he chose out. I really don't even want to see it right now because it's so bad. He said he just finished his trickery, so he's actually able to now start farming DB12 and MB12 freely, and then also Punisher Crypt. It looks like he has a GB12 team running as well, also with the Steel Fortress. He is working on his R5 team, his BJR5 team, and maybe that's an excuse for him to be choosing out a certain rune that I saw from his event runes, but I still think that it was a very bad choice. The slot and the main stat is out of the question. The substats and what he went with, it's extremely disappointing. I'm pretty sure it was very simple to ask, even in my Discord or just the general Reddit community, to check if the rune was a good rune to pick out, because I am 100% sure 100 out of 100 people would have said, don't pick that rune, continue rolling. So this account is blessed with a very good LDNAT 5, which is the Nephthys. The build is nothing to be amazed about. Well, actually, it's not that great at all. So, this already kind of shows that his rune quality is not there, because one of his best units has a mediocre rune set. He also has a lot of Nat 5s that are either not built or is a dupe, because I did see the Chung Peng already up here. If I were you, knowing that you don't have all the units and there's still a lot of units that you want, such as the Leo, that's really good, I would make units like the Chung Peng, that's a dupe, into blessings. Obviously, it gives you a bit better chance to get a new unit that you really need. From his box, you could tell that he has a good amount of units. It's just that his rune quality is what's lacking. And let's go check that out now. So when we look at his Swift runes, Violent runes, and Will runes, we will see that his rune quality is really bad. I'm just gonna say it's bad. I don't care if you're early game or not. Well, I know that this person came back recently, but there's no excuse for your rune quality being this bad. It just tells me that you haven't been farming, and if you want to play this game, you have to get used to farming, because you will be farming till this game dies. So if you look at the speed, slot 1, 16, another 16. Well, I guess this could be faster, right? It could be 19 or 20, depending on the grind. 16 again for slot 3, and then 16. So 16 is the fastest. Slot 4, there's a 12 there. And no, it is not the second row, guys. That is the first rune for slot 4. It's a 12. We are looking at speed. We are looking at sub property, okay? Now, this is one good rune here. Slot 5, a 25 rune. And it looks like it could become a 26. So that's just one good rune, but that's it. Everything else is mediocre. Remember, this is a swift set, so if your swift set does not have speed, it's a mediocre rune, okay? And then finally, slot 6 is 15. So what can I say about swift sets? They're bad. They're bad, and I know you just came back into the game, but GB12 should be a good dungeon for you to run, and you should be running it for a very long time, because you do want at least one set that's really fast. It'll take a long time. But we're not done. This was just a swift set, and if this was the only set that was lacking, it's a clear answer, right? Just go with the swift set. Just go with GB12. But that is not the case. So we're gonna look at violent, and you will see slot 1, 16 again. That's the fastest. Slot 3 is 25, the one fast rune, then 18. So let's see if this could become, nope, 25 is the fastest. Slot 4 is 17. Slot 5 is 26. So at least this set has 2 fast runes. So that's good. It could become 27. I would actually even argue giving this the legend grind to make it a 28, possibly. And I would regem an HP percent on this rune if you get it, just to make it more efficient and more versatile. You'll want this rune to be used on more units. I don't know what this was. I hope it was a flat stat, but even if it was the wrong choice. I would have gemmed out the resistance. I don't know why you gemmed this out, because it was either defense flat, attack flat, or HP percent, or a low accuracy roll, and you just give it a higher accuracy roll. But if it was any other flat stat, I would have kept that flat stat and I would have gemmed out the resistance, grind everything to make it a more efficient rune. Or it could have been crit damage as well. So if it was crit damage, then yeah, it's debatable. But still, this gem is the incorrect gem. Definitely HP percent or defense percent or attack percent, but I think that's the least favorite, because you want this rune to be more usable. I guess it's more fit for a support rather than a damage dealer, because the only thing that benefits a damage dealer is going to probably be the speed and crit rate, and then the attack percent, and these two stats will be lost. Next slot is 18, slot 6, 22, so not that bad there, but still it could be a blue rune. No, it was actually a purple rune, so it could be a 23, so that's an okay rune too. But overall, his violent runes are still extremely lacking for the amount of days he's played. Although, yes, I do understand you're coming back into the game and maybe you just weren't a big farmer, but I'm just telling you that, in my perspective, you are competing with every other player, right? Every other player that's out there, and this rune quality could be achieved in probably 200 days. Like seriously, it could be achieved in 200 days if they know how to play the game. And then let's look at Will. There you go, 10. So he wasn't a MB12 farmer. It looks like you don't have a lot of runes. I'm gonna suspect that you don't have good raid sets either. If you want to get better damage dealer sets, if you are focusing on BGR5, maybe running MB12 as your first option is a good choice, because the sets there will benefit your BGR5 team, and you do need will sets, although mediocre will sets for your BGR5 team. You could still argue that GB12 is good because Bale could work on fatal sets, and you could get fatal sets and swift sets and blade sets, although you don't use blade in BGR5 really, because you do need a will set. You understand what I mean? If you want another damage dealer set, it could be GB12 as well. Overall, if I had to choose, MB12 is probably lacking the most because there's just nothing here. And then it's probably GB12 and then DB12, but overall the entire account, all the runes are lacking. And yes, I am just saying this from looking at his swift runes, his violent runes, and his will runes, but it is the major rune for each dungeon, and I think one quality kind of shows the rest. So let's take a look at its despair runes, right? Because I want to see if it's much better. But see, 16 as well, not that different from his swift runes. 19, 14, 19, 17. So this proves my point. His despair runes are no different from his swift runes. Overall, runes really bad. If I had to choose a event rune, it'll definitely been a will rune, because you're lacking so many of them. A will slot 4, a slot 6, HP percent for sure, even maybe a speed slot 2, because you have none. So that would have been probably the best option for one of them. And then for violent, okay, you have some, you have a lot of slot 2 speed, so maybe that's not the case. But HP for speed for the 2, 4, 6s. Fastest here is 17, and then for slot 6 is 22. So slot 4 HP percent would have been a good choice. I look kind of down, right? And that is because I'm genuinely kind of mad that people choose runes like this, but I shouldn't be mad, right? I shouldn't be mad. I just don't feel good that players want to improve in the game, but they're so eager to pick out their event rune really quickly without getting the information on which runes they really need. And we'll see that right now. So if we go to the rune event page, I'll show you guys the 2 runes. So he spent a total of 60,000 points, and if you look at it, these are the 2 runes that he chose. I'm gonna let that sink in a little. I'm gonna let you guys see it again and again. Those are the numbers. Those are the numbers. Okay? So if you look at this violent rune right here, we could argue maybe he didn't have time and he didn't think that he'll get a lot of points. He was like, this is a good enough rune. And this one, okay. Yes, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's usable. There's still a good chance that it will be one of your best runes out there. But why? Why the heck did you stop at 14? What are you doing? I can't imagine ever taking a rune that's not 17. And guys, rolling this is only 50 points. Come on. And you have more than 4,000 points that's laying around. There was no reason for you to take this plus 14. So this genuinely made me upset. I know it's not my account, and it's totally up to the account owner to decide on which rune that they want to pick. But telling me that you want to improve in the game and choosing a rune like this, it just doesn't go with what you're saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, okay, let's say I understand this, okay? Because this could become still a 26 speed rune. Potentially. Right? But what kind of rune? What are you doing here? This is like the worst rune that you could pick out. I just don't get this. This is so bad. First of all, I know why you went with the rage rune. Yes, you wanted your Baal rune. You wanted a rune for Baal. But even for Baal, he needs HP and defense percent right here. Because he needs to be fairly tanky. And with your rune quality, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a hard time getting a Baal that's tanky enough. So you still needed HP percent or defense percent here. But you didn't go for that. You just went with these 2 flat stats. I don't know what this rune rolled into. He eventually took that rune that we saw in the beginning, whatever it rolled into. I think it was really low roll into crit damage, right? A 4% roll, and then a 5% roll in crit rate. You shouldn't be doing this. Don't ever do this, please. If there are people watching this video, and if you guys didn't choose out your event rune, but you guys are doing the same thing, please rethink what you're doing. Because you're going to regret it. If you learn more about the game, you know that it is really hard to come with opportunities like this. It's like once a year event that Comptos is giving you, and you could get your best rune. A god rune that you probably will have a very low chance of ever rolling again. There are people that played 8 years, like mystery hunt, that got his best rune just recently from the event. And he's been farming for 8 years. He's been playing for 8 years. Yes, you could argue that he's been playing on a different account. He had an original account, right? But still, I'm pretty sure he's been playing on his out for a very long time, his current main account for a very long time, and he recently got his best rune from the event. And if you're throwing the event like this, I don't know, I don't understand what you're trying to say when you say I want to improve in the game, because it just doesn't make any sense. I know this might sound harsh, but it's a wake-up call. If your account is doing the same thing, if you're doing the same thing as this account owner, but you want to improve in the game, wake up. This is not right. Ask for help. Ask for other people's opinion. Ask for, higher level players if this is a good choice. Because right now, if you show these to everybody on Reddit, or even in my community, in my Discord community, everybody will say, what the heck are you doing? Keep rolling. Well, I ranted for a very long time because I think this is important. I just hope that nobody else is doing the same thing as this account owner. Before we end it, let's give him a quick look in Arena. So if you look at his shop, so everything is not powered up yet. So I do like what you're doing with going with a free defense. I'll just get rid of the Luis and just put the Leica, just make it free, so that people could attack you and then you could attack back to gain your points. Well, let's not make an arena defense for this account right now because you don't need one, first of all, because you have so many things you have to work on, and you said you want to improve in the game. I do think that you should work on your towers first, so just keep getting hit. But for a fast clear offense, you have a lot of offenses, so I'm just going to recommend you one more. So you have this offense, but I will make a change. I would actually take that out, the Chung Peng, because you have a Nephthys, right? If you're going to use your Akamir as your main damage dealer, I will just use the Nephthys here and make sure it puts in all the debuffs so that Akamir could put in the big damages. But this is not speed tuned, so that's why I'm guessing you put in Chung Peng for the pushback. Just make it faster, because with the speed boost of Tiana, you might be able to get it, on a hard hitting set on Swift. And nonetheless, you should be aiming for this to be just speed tuned overall and not have to rely on a Chung Peng. Even if you did have a Chung Peng, there's still a good chance that, the defenses are on high resistance. It might not get pushed back and Akamir doesn't move and you fail your offense. So you don't want to get into that situation. You always want your Akamir to move after the Nephthys. So learn how to speed tune. Because right now assuming your Nephthys does move after the Tiana and the Galleon, it's 215, right? So you do want your Akamir to be 214 or something like that, or 213 or 210. Not too much of a speed difference. So this has to be at least a slot 2 speed rune for it to work. But that was it, guys. Rune wise, like I said, I think MB12 first, and then GB12, and then DB12. Learn the game more. I think learning the game more in general is really important. If you knew how hard it is to come by these events to get those kind of runes, I am pretty sure you wouldn't have chosen that rune. In my opinion, that event shouldn't be used as I could get a quick rune for my Bale so I can make my BGR5 team. Because in the end, if you farm enough, you will come by those runes pretty easily, but you won't come by a 24 plus speed rune, HP percent, Vile, Will, or crit damage. You're not going to come by those easily. Like seriously, you're going to be burning through crystals and you will still never get it, or rarely get it. You'll be happy to get a speed substat when you get a purple rune or a legend rune, and you'll see it not roll into speed. But this event guarantees you almost to have at least a plus 18 speed rune in the main stat that you want. And you missed it. So I hope this video was a pretty thorough review, but at the same time a wake-up call to this account owner and to everybody that's watching this that is in the same boat and are making the same choices. I hope there aren't a lot of people that are doing that. you.